Welcome to Studio Snack. I'm Lydia Thornley, a designer, creative director and sketcher.
And I'm Narcis Soleda, an unscientific designer. So Lydia, last episode of 2022, I think that requires a little bit of a recap, don't you think?
It does.
So we managed 7 episodes, including this one. And on the first one, we were talking about biscuits. And we discovered the pronunciation of the nice biscuits.
Nice biscuits, I think you'll find.
True. And we also learned a lot of nerdy typography biscuit information.
We discussed donut economics using actual donuts.
And we found out which one is the noisiest snack.
That was in our episode on How Does Our Work Sound. One of our favourites was Twice Baked, when we looked at ship's biscuits, tried baking some and then posted them to each other.
The following one was about fig rolls, which we learned that they existed since Egyptian times.
And then in the 6th episode, we talked about how you can really get the flavour of a place literally with its food.
I think we created a really, really lovely selection box this year.
Speaking of which, in our seasonal studio snack, we look at the traditional selection box. We sample a few, and ask what it tells us about our careers as designers. Patrick, our first house manager at the Trampery on the Gantry, had a thing for retro biscuit selections, so we asked him about that. He said, "I've never been a biscuit with tea man, but at the same time, it's a binding snack in those moments of conversation your parents or grandparents would have that you'd observe as a kid. Those retro biscuits aren't the super loud US style. They feel quiet, simple and comforting. Now it's all about loud packaging and weird flavours. Back then it was no nonsense and unassuming. They start a conversation and continue beyond it, essentially the perfect tool for convening."
They are a wonderful combination of homely and weird flavours.
Pink wafers, what's going on with those?
And they're quite a seasonal tradition.
There are Christmas biscuit tins dating back to the early 1900s, and that's no surprise. It was the Victorians who made Christmas a big, elaborate thing here, and maybe that was the Anglo-German mix.
So we needed an experiment.
Biscuit cam!
So we offered biscuits to the Trampery colleagues and filmed the box getting empty. A highly unscientific experiment to see which biscuits went first and which ones were left. So the chocolate biscuits were the most popular ones.
And then there were jammy dodgers, also popular, and no one can resist a custard cream.
But poor digestive and shortbread were left.
Poor digestives and shortbread. But there's always one that's nobody's favourite. Some of these, though, are surprisingly interesting. Take the digestive biscuit, for instance, which was literally digestive. It had a lot of bicarb in it, which was supposed to be good for your health. And then there's shortbread, first made in the 12th century with leftover dough, which was sweetened and made into biscuits. And I love the using up waste about that. That sort of thing would play very well now. Part of our work as designers is delving into things like this, finding stories and giving people a different view of an apparently ordinary thing. Nobody really thinks about that as being part of design, but it's really at the heart of what we do.
Fancy a biscuit?
Only digestives left now. At least we know they're interesting.
They're my new favourite.
Join us next year for another studio snack. Meanwhile, have a lovely festive season.
Merry Christmas! Together with the jammy dodgers.